Ladies and gentlemen, it is time, and welcome for another edition of NASCAR 07 on the channel. We are back at it once again for the running of the Coca-Cola 600, and on the season, it is the longest race of the year. What better way than to get back into the swing of things on the video game side of the channel than to run the longest race of the season on a work night. But needless to say, we are here. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. We're going to try to go for the win. If you guys are unfamiliar with the series, we are currently sitting at 3 consecutive wins, 8 total on the season, and we are the points leader. I've got the points scrolling across the top of the screen. The last 3 races we won from the pole, in fact, at Atlanta and Infineon Raceway on the road course, and then a 50% race at Martinsville. So 3 very different racetracks, very different races, and today will be another different racetrack, another different test, to say the least, with it being 600 miles. Hopefully we can get the win. We are starting 14th. I finished second in the first Charlotte race of the season, which was a 50% race. Ryan Newman ended up winning that one. Brian Vickers qualified on the pole for this one, and hopefully we can end up getting this thing into victory lane, go on a 4-race winning streak, and tie a bunch of people for the modern era record for the most consecutive wins. See here who's in the chat. Cameron Chiza, Billy Kramer, Wade Solinsky, Jackson Thomas, I Like Donuts in NASCAR, and others. Welcome into the stream. And without further ado, let's get the race underway because it's going to be a long one here tonight. Green flag is in the air, and we are racing at the Lowe's Motor Speedway for the longest race of the season. Spinning the tires off the start. I sideswiped the 42. I didn't really race in traffic in practice. Oh my goodness, I'm so loose right now. Once I get the swing of things here, I think we'll be okay. Like Paul Menard just bounced off the wall off turn 4 up ahead. Top 13 cars pulled away. We remain right where we qualified in 14th, so that's good. And Brian Vickers from the pole leads lap 1. This thing is edgy. I didn't qualify as well as I thought I was going to. I was top 10 in practice, but didn't qualify particularly well. And Jeff Burton hot on her tail right now. Tony Raines up into the wall. Menard checks, clips Mark Martin, and Martin scrapes the wall as well. That could have been a lot worse than what it was. Martin tried to shoot the gap after Raines got into the wall and stacked the 15 up, and the 15 went low to try to miss the 96 and clip Mark Martin. That could have been disastrous. Second time we've scraped the wall already. Right out of the gates. Long race, we don't need to be damaging this thing that much. I was willing to take it easy here at the beginning, and then that's happened. It's been kind of a wild start. Let me know if the audio is also good to go, by the way. If the race volume's a little too loud, I'll end up turning it down a little bit so you can hear me on the mic. We haven't done one of these streams in a minute, so I want to make sure all that is good to go for you guys. Oof. Gotta get used to trying to look at the chat again. Definitely know not to look in the corners like I just did. Mark DeMars, thanks for tuning in also. I gotta get my laptop a little closer to me so I can read the chat. I can't really see it from that far away. Audio's good? Alright, awesome. Keegan's rusty at this. I am rusty. I haven't played this game in a month. I think July 17th was the last time we did a NASCAR video game stream on the channel, so it's been almost a month. And I haven't played any NASCAR video games since, so definitely feeling shaky. It's going to be a tough race to win today. I'm hoping because it's 600 miles, though, as long as I keep the car clean, we'll keep speed in it. And I think I'll get better throughout the course of the race, but we're definitely going to be struggling for right now. I think the big thing is stay on the lead lap for as long as we possibly can. You have to imagine in a 600-mile race we're going to see some cautions. In fact, the last race we ran, or actually not the last race at Martinsville, but 2 races ago at the Infineon Raceway, we had the most cautions in a single race on this game on the channel, where we had 15 yellows. So you just never know what can happen here in this one. Dropped our fastest lap of the race on lap 7 that last time. You can just see this car wiggling around a lot in the middle of the corners. That's not good to have that on lap 8 of the run. It's only going to get worse and worse as the tires start to fall off. Elliott Sadler going to take the lead at the front of the field now. Tenth quicker than the fastest lap of the race, that last lap for Mark Martin. Loose is fast if you can hang on to it. Get to the inside of the 137 car off the exit of turn 4. The quickest lap of the race for Martin as he has that car cleared into turn 1 for 11th. Now Casey Mears in the 42 just up ahead. And now to the inside of Mears for 10th. Last 4 laps have been my quickest of the race, so I'm finding something. Finally starting to get in a good rhythm. Get to the inside of Michael Waltrip. Didn't get off turn 2 very well. Thought Waltrip was going to have a chance to move back down in front of me, but he was very patient. He stayed wide, let Martin through, and Mark's now up to 9th. A lot of racing to go. We've got quite a few pit stops in this one. Yeah, definitely got to be patient. Notice Matt Kenseth's made quite a few passes as of late. He's looking quick. We'll get to the inside of Jeff Gordon for 7th. Jimmy Johnson to the lead in the Coke 600. No surprise, this is his track. He's got the Lowe's sponsorship. It was called Lowe's Motor Speedway for a reason, I guess. Johnson's so good in the Coca-Cola 600 in the mid-2000s. Looks like Brian Vickers falling back just a little bit. Currently sits 6th. Kenseth looking to make a pass on the 25. And Gordon perhaps trying to get back around Kenseth as well. There's a few Roush cars up here. I mean, see Greg Biffle up in the top 3 as well. He's in 2nd, right behind Jimmy. Newman for 3rd underneath Sadler. Jeff Gordon down to block Mark Martin on the front stretch. And the fact that the top 9 cars are under a blanket like this 15 laps in is pretty impressive. Nobody able to really run away with it yet. Martin to the inside of Gordon on the back stretch. Not going to be able to stay underneath him this time. Try it again off turn 4. Definitely going to have the spacing needed into turn 1 to make the pass. Kenseth's getting held up big time by Sadler and Vickers, who are side by side right in front of the 17. Martin drives it in deep. Going to the outside, not a lot of room there. Nope, that didn't work. Couldn't hold that outside lane very well. Ethan Chua, thanks for tuning in. Looks like Newman's up to second, trying to get the Charlotte sweep on the season. Won the 300 miler now, or sorry, won the 250 miler, now trying to win the 600 miler. Oh, I overdrove it. Overdrove the entry a little bit that time, making contact with Matt Kenseth. Tony Stewart to P3, Biffle sliding backwards now in fourth. Sadler and Vickers trying to catch back up again. Fastest lap of the race that last time for Mark Martin. Sadler gets a little loose getting into turn one. Vickers to the inside. Martin trying to get to the outside of the 25. Vickers not giving Mark a lot of room. I'm lifting. I want no part of that. He did not give us any room at all there. You want to talk about crowding the guy on lap 19. There was no way I was going to make the exit of that corner. I'm already loose as it is, and he did not give me much room there. Trying to wreck me. Martin down towards the bottom. Nope, not going to get underneath the 25 yet. Lost a lot of momentum there off turn 4. We'll get to the inside of his teammate Greg Biffle though. Slides up in front of him. Tony Stewart to the lead into turn 3. He'll get 5 bonus points for leading his first lap of the race. Clip the apron, a little loose moment there for Martin. Losing a lot of speed, and that was a terrible block on his teammate nonetheless. Biffle going wide into the first turn. Trying to work his way back up there. Martin blocking again. Almost turned myself. Trying to block him the first time. Take it slow, Canes. Gordon got by Biffle, and now he's trying to get back by Martin. Gordon to the inside of Mark. Mark trying to give Jeff a little bit of room here. Gordon clear. Twisted Man series, I've never heard of it, honestly. I've only really gotten into sports games growing up, for the most part. There's a lot of racing games I've never even really attempted to play before. Looks like Jimmy Johnson's trying to get back after the race lead. He's actually side by side for a second. I thought he was under Stewart there for a minute. Vickers trying to get back up there again. There's 3 Hendrick cars up at the front of the field considering Gordon's in 6th. Vickers trying to get back into 4th after qualifying 1st. And Jimmy Johnson, who's led laps, going for the lead into turn 1 again underneath Tony Stewart. Johnson, the only Hendrick Chevy to go to victory lane so far this season. He's got 1 win, sits 2nd in points. Martin just over a 1 full race worth of points ahead of Johnson for the lead. And this is a season-long championship as well. No chase. Martin to the outside of Jeff Gordon. Into turn 3. Crossover move, getting to the inside of Gordon now off the exit of turn 4. He's got it. A little slide job getting into turn 1, and he's all clear. Down to the inside of Newman off turn 2. I could get clean laps in and not lose too much momentum. We definitely start to move forward. Up to 4th now, getting by Vickers. Few passes that last lap for the 6. He's got a big run on the front stretch, nowhere to go with it. Tony Stewart right in front of him. Sadler trying to get a run on Johnson into turn 1. Everybody accordioning down the backstretch. All trying to get by one another. Martin's there under Stewart for P3. Up to 3rd. We're moving. 30.38 fastest thus far. Was that the last lap, or was that a couple laps ago? Break out of this traffic. Might be able to run a little bit quicker. Underneath Sadler. For 2nd, Martin's got it. Newman follows the 6 to try to go underneath Sadler as well for 3rd as they're door-to-door into turn 3. And Martin with a big closing rate now on Johnson, who gave up quite a bit of the bottom there. Couldn't get off turn 4 as well as Jimmy that time, though. And Newman closing in on Martin for 2nd again. I think these were the 3 that finished 1 through 3 in the first Charlotte race, if I remember correctly. No, Newman won. I finished 2nd. I think Jimmy finished 3rd that day. Inverted order based on where they're at right now. Like to get to the lead here as soon as possible. Try to get 5 bonus points. Looking low. Trying to get to the inside of the 48 again. Not enough speed to be able to do so. Johnson running that middle groove in the corners. And he's giving up room for me to attempt to try to get underneath him, but I can't quite get there. Off the exit of the corner, and he's carrying more straightaway speed as a result. Try it this time. Really low exit to turn 4 by Martin. Johnson leads that lap. Martin trying to side draft, just couldn't pull him back enough. It's allowing Sadler and Newman to really catch up to these two. This battle for the lead going on. Here we go. We got him this time. Nope, I don't think I can stay underneath him getting into the corner. Comes Newman going to try to go to the outside, and he may lose 3rd. trying to do that. Sadler's going to get underneath him. Johnson's just so fast down the straightaways. Sadler underneath the 6 now for second. Good job by Mark Martin holding on. Tried to get a run off the top there on Johnson. Carried a lot of corner getting into the turns 1 and 2. This is frustrating that I can't pass him right now. I'm really trying as hard as I can, and I've got nothing for him. I could like barely even get to his corner panel. Oh my gosh, we're so close. I just can't get there. I get halfway down the straightaway and he just it's like he hits another gear. We're not even shifting, but got nothing for him. Is that going to be it? Johnson leads again. I just want to be able to stay underneath him going into the corner. I can't do that. I get underneath him and he just carries so much speed from exit to entrance. I just can't keep with him no matter how much I try to side draft him. He's obviously logging in quite a few laps led right now with this going on as well. We're going to try it again. Started to the top, rolls to the bottom. And Johnson holds for the lead again. Takes me like a lap and a half or so to get back to him, and I fail to make the passes. I'm lucky I'm not losing a spot because of it. It's just enough to keep it from pulling away, but he's also so fast down the straightaways that even when I get to the lead, I don't even know if I have a chance to try to pull away from him, to be completely honest. Jimmy may have the superior car right now. Johnson trying to stay close. I should say Martin trying to stay close to Johnson. Turns 1 and 2, he's going to go for it. Gets underneath him. He hasn't gotten to the inside of Johnson in 1 and 2 yet. Didn't really matter much. Dang. Oh, Jimmy got into the wall. That might be the mistake needed for Martin to get to the lead. He did lead that lap at the line. Forces himself clear into turn 1. Johnson made one mistake, and Mark Martin was finally able to capitalize and get to the lead. And here comes Sadler for second. Jimmy may get freight train now. He lost the primary groove. Problem is Mark Martin not as quick down the straightaways. I don't think he's going to be able to pull away. Been an intense nearly 75 miles to get this thing started. Johnson going back for the lead again. Martin crowds him. They almost wrecked. How did Mark keep it off the wall as he goes back for the 48 again? That's too flat. Way too flat. Oh my goodness, I just completely moved him up out of the way. Oh, we got loose. Hang on, Jimmy. Oh my goodness. These guys are racing like it's the last lap. Last lap, every lap. Mark getting really loose off the exit of the corners. As we get to lap 50, Jeff Gordon trying to get to the lead for the first time. Can't tell if he's there. He is. Martin checking him up. Down into turn 3. Gordon up the track, making sure he's going to have the 38 of Sadler cleared off of turn 4. As intense of a 600 miles as you're going to see tonight, the way this thing's starting. These guys haven't even gotten into lap traffic yet. We're 50 laps in. That's how hard they're racing at the front of the field. It's why nobody's getting away from anybody. Way looser off turn 4 than what I am turn 2. Johnson gonna try the top. Mark gave it to him. Didn't work. Sadler got loose on the bottom. Jimmy holds on to second anyway, and he had a run from the outside, going to the inside, but Mark blocks him into turn 1. The 12 gets by the 38 car as well. The racing we have seen thus far, though, is probably the wildest start we've probably ever seen in a Coke 600. I would imagine green flag pit stops is going to end up spacing these guys out a little bit more. You would at least think it would. Martin really flatlined to getting into the corner. Surprised he actually held on to the lead there. It's like Dave Blaney at the tail end of the field. Jeff Gordon's going to take to the top. Matt Kenseth's up in the mix. There's like 8 cars. This is like a mini pack race. It's like the 2019 All-Star race. Here's Newman. Mark Martin's still kind of crowding the 12 car a bit. And again holds on to the lead. Oh my goodness. Got a lap car coming up. Dave Blaney. Mark shuffling backwards as he got stuck on the top lane. And there's just so many cars underneath him, and now Dave Blaney's in his way on that outside lane, and he can't get back down to the bottom. That's not the way to do it. I guess it is. A little loose. Had to keep it against the wall. I didn't want to turn it. Now we got to get back by Dave Blaney again. Now Jimmy Johnson's got to get shuffled off the bottom. Up to 5th. Got quite a few cars on pit road right now, and a lot more coming in from the front portion of the field. Lap 60. One of our teammates has pitted already. It looks like Jamie McMurray. Not sure where at in the field he was running. So Kenseth may be pitting this time right behind Martin. Mark going to try to run this out as far as he can. Johnson's coming in as well. These guys short pitting, you would have to think, are going to cycle out ahead of the 6 and the 12. But if a caution comes out, all those other guys that already pitted are going to get tracked a lap down. That's the risk you take of pitting early. Newman going to pit this time by. Martin's going to take the race lead again. I'm going to go to lap 65 and then I'm going to pit. So Mark Martin back out in front. Make our stop very shortly. Stay out this time by, and then we'll pit at lap 65. Which would mean we could go to lap 130 before we make our second stop. Let's get through this opening fuel run. Trying to get all I could before heading down to pit road. There we go. 4 tires and fuel, no adjustments, clean pit road entry for Mark Martin. Thanks for giving advice for good stuff. Not sure what you mean by that, but all right. Sorry, I couldn't really look at the chat much there. There was a lot going on, as you can probably well see. Intense battling for the lead. Rainer Martinez, thanks for tuning in. Curious to see where Martin's going to cycle out of the pits. There go the leaders. Ryan Newman going to get back to the lead. Going to get up to speed in 8th place, it appears. So I think I was 6th when they started to pit. I didn't lose much time. Staying out a little bit longer. Just trying to maximize my fuel window. It's nice to have 4 fresh tires back on the car again because we were getting really loose there towards the end of the run. Didn't make any adjustments to that first setup. I want to see how I go now that I'm getting used to the looser handling conditions. And see if I can take care of the tires a little bit better on this run and keep the speed sustained. Because, I mean, we were leading laps. Oh, workout stuff. Yeah, I don't, I mean, I have a good idea just, like, working out and just watching a bunch of stuff. I mean, I didn't learn this. I mean, I learned it on my own, but I wouldn't have learned it if it wasn't for other people telling me stuff that they already knew. It was easier for me to kind of figure it out for myself. And then it's just trial and error at that point because everybody's bodies act different. Car Paul Menard in 15. He qualified really well. I'm surprised he fell that far back that quick. The first 70 laps, I think he started just in front of us. He did get up into the wall early, and I wonder if that might have scrubbed some speed off of his race car tonight as well. Careful driving that low in the middle of the corner. Clean pass on Biffle though. .297 that last lap. Fastest lap of the race. A lot more spaced out now than what it was on the initial start, obviously. I figured green flag pit stops would kind of help break the field apart a little bit more. They definitely did. True Assassin 86X, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, definitely wild stuff going on in Hawaii right now. I didn't really look too much in detail of it, but I guess what, they had like a hurricane and now they got a bunch of fires going on over there. Crazy. I didn't really think that, I mean, obviously There's a bunch of islands in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, so I guess it would be attainable to have a hurricane, but I've never really heard of like any hurricanes hitting Hawaii before, though. I feel like usually they kind of stay south, and then by the time they start to head up more north, it goes more towards like the islands over there in East Asia. By Tony Stewart pretty quickly. Martin squeezes under Sadler, and he's not wasting any time trying to charge back through the field as he works his way to fourth. It looks like Ryan Newman's really pulling away from all these other guys, though, towards the front of the field right now. Martin going to follow his teammate, Matt Kenseth. At least to get by that lap car. Now he's going to try to pass him on his own. Martin going low. Can't quite get underneath his teammate Matt Kenseth there either. Jimmy starting to close in on Ryan Newman. Really low dive by Martin, very similar to how Martin got by his other teammate Greg Biffle. Wow, Kenseth was squeezing Mark. He did not give him a lot of room for error there. I think he was trying not to get picked behind the lap car, the 122, and that's exactly what happened. Made for an easier clearance in the center of the corner for Mark, but if he just would have moved up just slightly, he would have gotten right hooked into the wall there. And Jimmy Johnson has now caught Ryan Newman. Lost a little bit of time during those green flag pit stops, but Johnson looked like the class of the field early, and now he's trying to get back to the lead again. We know he's going to be the toughest car to try to pass at the front of the field here tonight, because that has been the case so far. Martin going to get by another lap car. Johnson goes wide. And Martin's going to get underneath him off turn 4. He's actually going to hang with Johnson that time and clear Jimmy going into turn 1 for second. That works. $80 laps in the books. Coca-Cola 600. A lot more lap traffic to come. It's Mark Martin's trapped behind Ryan Newman again. Kind of bump trapped Newman a little bit off turn 4 and pushed him a little further out ahead. Big slide job getting by that lap car. 174. Slides up in front of the 143 car, left a lot of bottom open, and here comes Mark Martin back to the inside, trying to get there. Not going to happen. Now Johnson underneath the 6. Mark's got to continue to hold that outside line with Jimmy Johnson underneath him. Martin clears. I think I'm just going to park him behind the 12. Unless he really starts to hold me up and Johnson gets hot in my tails again, we need to stop battling and try to pull away from these guys, because the fact that we have this many cars still within a second or two of the leaders 80 plus laps in after green flag pit stops is pretty insane. care too much about the most laps led at this point anymore. It's been so intense these first 80 laps, I just don't think I'm going to be able to hang on to the end. At some point I'm going to get exhausted mentally just from running a bunch of laps, and it's going to come a lot quicker the harder and harder I push. Honestly, I may just end up pitting with Ryan Newman too. When he comes in, I'm going to come in at the same time. Just try to stay with the 12 car. Strategy-wise the rest of this race. I mean, I only went 2 laps longer than him on fuel the first run, so I wouldn't be pitting that early. Next time, go to do something like that. Got to the inside of him. And Newman launches forward on the front stretch. Appreciate everybody that's tuned in here tonight. Be sure to hit that like button on the stream if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. And we will keep these video game streams pumping throughout the course of the week again here. Hopefully get back to those Throwback Thursday streams somewhat soon as well. What's the next race I'm going to attend? More than likely the Bristol night race. It's kind of been my annual tradition going to Talladega every year as well as Bristol the last handful of years. So I think this was the 4th consecutive year of me going to Dega. I think it'd be the same for Bristol in the fall as well. And I do plan on going there for all the weekend races for the Truck Xfinity and Cup Series races. So should be some fun. Joe Nemechek blowing an engine. I think that's the first car I've actually seen blow a motor in the race. I saw Jamie McMurray blow an engine in practice, but he's at least under power through 93 laps of this race still. That's good for little Jamie, baby. Still caution free in the Coke 600 as well, almost 100 laps in. Aggressive and wild start, but clean nonetheless. Bill, thanks for tuning in. Think Shane Van Gisbergen make a good full-time Cup driver? I think he can have just as successful of a career as Marcus Ambrose did, and I think Ambrose did pretty good for himself. Considering SVG, I think, is a little younger now than what Ambrose was when he got into the Cup Series, I think that would help him a little bit. I could be wrong on that. They might have been about the same age. I know Ambrose was older when he got to the Cup Series full-time at least, so if SVG was to go full-time Cup racing like within the next year or two, I think he would be younger. So he'd have more room to try to develop. I mean, I don't see why he can't have like a 10-year career in NASCAR. I think he's, what, like 33 right now, so... He is definitely going to have to get better on the ovals, though. When you consider the fact that he was pretty much running about 20th the whole race in the truck race. So by the end, he was close to the top 15, but that is also the truck series. I mean, he was getting outran by quite a few trucks that didn't have as good of equipment as he did. But I will also say that Ross Chastain kind of struggled in that 41 truck the races he ran this year, too. So I know it's an East Motorsport entry. But you can definitely tell Hocevar's getting all the good stuff there with that team at the same time. He kept it clean, though. He didn't make any major mistakes. Never caused anybody else to get in an incident. He had a clean race. If he can keep doing that, he's only going to get more and more experience. You can definitely tell he's got good racecraft. Hence the reason he is in his early 30s. He just doesn't make those kinds of mistakes. Very similar to Josh Berry in the Xfinity Series, where you just don't see him make huge mistakes. He has been racing for a while. 34. Yeah, I mean, still, I don't see why he can't have like an 8 to 10 year career in NASCAR. We know he's going to be a threat on road courses. The more he runs these cars and figures these cars out, he's only going to be that much more competitive on the road courses compared to what he already is. And he finished 10th yesterday, and it was only his second ever Cup race. Not to mention, of course, I know he won the first one, but even just on a track where everybody else has ran before, and he hadn't ran on that track before with the next-gen car, pretty impressive. Yeah, that's true. I mean, Marcus Ambrose, he was most of the Xfinity Series, he was JTG Doherty racing, and then RPM. Yeah, that's a fair point, too. Lap 105 coming up. Haven't been pushing 100% this time, so Might even have a little bit extra fuel in it compared to before. I'm surprised we haven't had that many lap cars we've really had to deal with. Just definitely helped me stay close to Ryan Newman as well this entire run. I definitely know we're faster than the 12. If 48 was in front of us, it'd be a different story because he was very difficult to try and pass anytime I tried to make a move. Blaney going a second lap down. We've been racing for almost an hour already. We're only just over 100 in. Got a long ways to go in this thing. That was not the time to start thinking about it that way, but no cautions in this race either. The only chance I've had to even take a remote break was that one and only pit stop we've had so far. And honestly, the way we're running right now, we might even be able to go past lap 130 if I really wanted to on fuel, but I'm just going to plan to pit the same time Ryan Newman does. Ryan Newman definitely logging in quite a few laps led. I'm definitely taking care of my tires a lot more on this run too, doing this, not pushing 100% too, because I haven't really felt the car get extremely loose like I did on the last run, and I mean, we're almost 50 laps on these tires already. Things are going good. Closing in on Denny Hamlin, rookie. This 2006 season. Not trying to do that. Had to lift quite a bit there to try to keep from wrecking. Might catch up to Newman now that he's side by side with Denny Hamlin. And Mark is going to try to get by the 11. And he does. Jeff Burton's the last car in the lead lap.
Number 31, high. Hang it up. Okay, we're clear.
Alright, we're gonna alternate through the different camera angles for the first time in the race today. Oh, we got into him. Just kind of clipped that left rear quarter panel of Ryan Newman just a little bit. Definitely a close call. Jamie McMurray came into the pits that last lap. Just a reminder, though, we are going to have to be on the lookout of when Ryan Newman ends up hitting pit road, because we will pit the same lap as him. I'd probably say 126 to 128 would be more than likely. Lap car, Jamie McMurray in the way. Martin to the outside of his teammate into turn 3. That's not going to work out very well, though. McMurray on those fresher tires down on the bottom of the racetrack, and that's allowing for Ryan Newman to get ahead just a little bit. Slight walk straight, not going to help the 6 either. Gets to the inside of McMurray off of turn 2. It's kind of a bad time for him to blend in. And he was going to have to do it to make the corner anyway. Lost a little bit of ground, going to have to try to catch that back up. Oh, hang on, he's coming in, and we are too. 4 tires and fuel. I didn't mean to spam through that, but I didn't plan on making any adjustments anyway. Mark Meadows, thanks for tuning in. Why not go for the pass? I wanted to make sure I was going to pit the same lap as him. Just looking to stay with the same strategy as the leader, really, at this point. This thing's staying caution-free so far. There goes Newman. Came in into the pits just behind him and will come out just behind him, so no surprise there. In 4th, Greg Biffle stayed out a little longer to lead his first lap of the race. Ryan Newman accelerated so much quicker than Martin, getting up to speed. Should be in 2nd again, though. Once they cycle through. Really fast stop for that 12 team. He's got about a 2-second lead over Mark Martin now. I'm not sure who else stayed out with Greg Biffle, but somebody else did. They didn't get a lap let out of it, unfortunately, for whoever it was. And we have cycled through our 2nd set of green flag pit stops at tonight's Coca-Cola 600. It'd be insane if Ryan Newman sweeps Charlotte, though. It'd be have his 3rd win of the year. 2 of them at this racetrack. I would have thought Jimmy Johnson was going to be the guy to beat based off the speed in the early going, but it might be Ryan Newman. I mean, I should have known with him winning the first race here earlier this season that he was going to have a good chance to compete. Who's the next to retire? I'd probably lean towards Almirola, considering that he already announced his retirement what was that, last year? When he did that and he ended up coming back? Or was that the year before? I'd probably lean towards him leaving next, especially Truex already signing on another year. Probably going to have to wait for Newman to catch more lap traffic for us to really start to run him down, because we haven't really... I guess we ate into the lead a little bit the last couple laps, but not as quickly as I would hope. Hopefully get by Martin Truex Jr. pretty quickly. Truex leaving that bottom lane open for Mark Martin. Through turns 3 and 4. Mark about a 10th quicker than Ryan Newman on that last lap. We're about a 10th or 2 quicker lap than the 12. Took me a few laps to really start to get going. About 5-6 laps into the run before I actually started to get time on him. I don't know if he cycled out in front of the one car or if he had passed him during the run. He's definitely got more lap traffic coming up. It's not super heavy, but there's evenly spaced out cars that'll probably end up catching every couple laps. And then trying to pass that lap car first of the new tire stint. I think Joe Nemechek's still the only car out of the race. I'd imagine we're going to see quite a few engine failures before the end of this thing. Coke 600, you always see guys blowing up, especially in the Gen 4 era. Pushing the RPMs super hard for 600 miles on an intermediate track. Some bad fast race cars. And Newman's doing a good job getting through the lap cars pretty quickly for the most part. Definitely didn't seem like he wasted a lot of time trying to get past him. And now he's struggling because whoever he just put a lap down just got right back underneath him. Through turns 3 and 4, Newman stuck on the outside, and Mark Martin just ran his fastest lap of the race, 30.223 that last lap. Might get into the 29s for the end of this one. Newman still stuck on the top, as now that second car that he passed is underneath him. Following that first lap car to getting their laps back. And here comes Mark Martin. He's going to go for the lead. 3 wide, lap car got loose in the middle, slowed Ryan Newman up even more, and Mark Martin out in front after running again his fastest lap, dropping a 30.170 on the way by the 12. And now the 103 going to try to block Mark Martin next. We'll see how long Martin can hold on to this race lead for. Trying to get around him. Man, couldn't clear him. Should get him this time. Yep. Love for Newman to get right back up here again, though. See, I won at golf. I guess if you can win at golf, I did just that today, yeah. I shot my personal best, 69. And it was on a course I've never played before. I drove up to Michigan to play on this one course. I mean, it was only like 20 minutes from where I live. I live close to the border anyway, but yeah, I never played there before. And the only reason I even went there is because I didn't go out till a little later into the afternoon, so they had a lot of the courses nearby. I was only able to play 9, so I was trying to call around to see which course I could play 18 for, and they're like, oh, if you get up here by 1:45, you should be able to finish up for the leagues come. I'm like, all right, sounds good. So teed off at like 1:25, I want to say. And I got done at like 3:06. Like, I played in just over an hour and a half. I only caught 2 groups, and they let me go. Like, on the next hole, I caught them on, so it's pretty quick pace. But it was quick because I was playing so good. I just wasn't taking a lot of time. Everything was coming so easy. Probably the quickest round of golf I've ever played, and it was definitely the best. Got so close to even par a handful of times this year, didn't get it. And it's been a couple months since I got like really close, and then I just went out today. And I haven't played in a little bit. And I'm surprised. Like, I struggled the first 2 holes. I bogeyed the first 2, and then I just caught fire right after that for whatever. Well, I didn't catch fire right after that. Like, I parred the next 2 or 3 holes, but I don't think I had my first green in regulation till like the 6th hole, and I think I knocked off like 8 or 9 of them between the 6th and then the 18th at the end. So I was just starting to catch fire after that and started getting in a rhythm. I didn't hit the range before my round either, so that's why I kind of started off slow. Didn't hit the putting green, but my putting was beautiful pretty much from the first hole on, so that I got accustomed to very quick. I'm curious to go back to that course again. Like, I didn't think it was that easy. Like, the first hole was a 540-yard par 5. Like, I was not ready for that. I had no clue what the scorecard was going in. I just was looking at, like, courses within, like, feasible driving range, because I knew if I was going to have to drive too far, I wasn't going to be able to get out there before leagues to at least play 18, and I wanted to play 18. Especially having off of work. Trying to look at the chat. Get squirrely in the front stretch. Yeah, the craziest thing that happened during that round too, I was 2 over. I went 1 over on the front, and then I parred the first, I want to say 3 holes of the back 9 if I remember right. 3 or 4, and then I had a bogey. So I was 2 over with 4 holes to go when I got to the 15th. So I had 2 par 3s and 2 par 4s left, so I wasn't looking at getting back to even. I was like, I might have a chance to birdie one of those holes, because I hadn't birdied to that point. I eagled a par 5 on the 5th. The 6th, either the 5th or 6th, the second par 5 I eagled it. And it was like 234 out, I want to say, on my second shot. And I drilled my 5-wood and put it on the front of the green. Made like if I had to guess, about a 16-foot putt or so for eagle. Just drained it right in the middle of the cup. So that got me back to even from the 2 bogeys I had the first 2 holes. And then I ended up bogeying, I want to say, a couple holes later. So I finished the 1 over on the front. And then it was 1 over on the back, which would have put me 2 over total with 4 holes left. And there's a drivable par 4. I'm like, all right, this is a hole I want to make sure I birdie, because if I could birdie this, and then maybe I can get something close in the next couple holes. So I was like pin high, just off to the right of the green, like on the fringe, and probably had like a 30-foot chip or something of that nature. Chipped it in for eagle, and I was like, oh my goodness. And the very next hole, there was a par 3. 177, I want to say. Took my 7-iron out, hit a rope right at the pin. It trickled just behind the pin. I missed a hole in one by like 1 foot, so I had to chip in for eagle. Green side on a short par 4. And then the next hole, I almost hit my first hole in one. Like, it was just the coincidental things. Having back-to-back 2s on a scorecard, I don't think I've ever had that before. I don't even know if I've ever had 2 eagles in one round before until today either. I can't remember, I think I was close to doing that earlier this year. I eagled a par 4 for the first time on my home course that I live like 5-6 minutes from, that I have a membership at. There's a drivable par 4 there, and I've driven it like 3 or 4 times this year. And the one time I drove it, I put it like 4 feet from the pin and kind of just tapped it in basically for eagle. And then there was, later in that round on the back 9, I hit the drive of my life on a par 4 I'd never driven up to that point. Always usually get it within like 20 to 30 yards short of the green, but that's about like all I could usually do. But it was so dry that part of the year because we were going through a drought that the ball rolled up onto the green, and I ended up 2-putting for birdie, I think, on that. But yeah, I've never had 2 eagles in one round before. That was insane. I only had the 1 birdie, which was the literally like 1 foot tap-in I had for that par 3 right after I eagled the second time. So that put me 1 under, and then I think I would have had 2 holes left. I bogeyed the next par 3, and then I parred the last hole. I barely missed that par putt too on that par 3. It was like another half rotation from rolling over. It was a perfect line, just so short. I thought it was in, and it just died the last second. So, I mean, I was that close to breaking par. But yeah, this is the first time I ever shot even par for 18 holes. I shot like under par for 9 holes various times, but I've never actually gone even. Usually it's like the back 9, like after my front 9 when I really get settled in, I'll go like under even par. I'll go under par for the back, but then like the front 9 I was like 3 or 4 over or whatever. But yeah, I got so close so many times this year. I was like, it's gonna happen at some point, but then it kind of cooled off the last month or so, and then out of nowhere today, just absolutely went pin hunting. It was cool. I wish somebody was there with me. There was this group, the second group that let me through, they saw me chip in for eagle because they hit their drives and then they let me hit, and then they were waiting for me to finish. I chipped it in, so they had to have seen me just walk up and pick the ball out of the hole. And then when I was setting up and hit my tee shot on that par 3 where I almost had the hole in one, the guy that was on the green behind me must have saw me hit. He's like, did that go in the hole? I'm like, no, I think it's like right behind it, and that's exactly where it was. I didn't think I made it. I knew it was running close, and then when I was driving to the green, I'm like, that's like real close. Definitely makes the game more fun when you can play that good, I'll tell you that much. I always have fun playing golf, even on my bad rounds. You know, I get over it pretty quickly, but outside of the first 2 holes, I didn't have a bad shot the rest of the round. I did hit a tree on the 3rd, and I still went up and down for par. I wrecked myself there off Truex. Oh boy, crowd Newman there. Anyway, yeah, I went up and down for par. Oh, Blaney's in the wall. Newman got stuck behind him, and then Truex got by Newman. Almost had her first caution. Yeah, I kind of want to go back there again. I have to work the next few days though, so I'm not going to be able to go there unless they don't have a league night one night. But I'm probably going to end up having to play there again probably sometime next weekend. It was only $25 for me to play with a cart too, so pretty cheap. It's a nice course. It was in good shape. There was a tornado that went through like that general area like a month or two ago, and I kind of forgot about that, but there was like a few trees that were down on the golf course. I don't know if it was cheaper because it like wasn't in its best condition, and I don't even know if it went through like that area or not exactly, but I mean I would imagine they had severe winds with that knocked a few trees down, because you could see there was like 2 or 3 trees that were down on specific holes in the general area of the course, like the outskirts of it. Somehow, Martin led that last lap still, continues to try to crowd Ryan Newman, and now they're 3 wide with Truex up on the outside, still battling for the lead. I was talking about golf and looking out of the rear view, it looks like Matt Kenseth's closing in. Oh, just knocked the 12 into the wall. Trying to side draft him there, and I just completely knocked him into the fence, and now here comes Kenseth as he gets his way to second. One eagle. Yeah, I haven't eagled many par 5s this year. That was my first on a par 5 in a really long time. I had that one on the par 4 like a month and a half ago or so, but then yeah, I haven't. Done too well on par 5s this year. It's hard for me just to get there. Like, I never get there in 2. A lot of the courses I play, the par 5s are like really long around here. Like, I have to smoke 2 shots in a row, and I have to hit them both like straight too. I'm pretty good with keeping my driver on the fairway, but my woods I'm usually pretty bad with, so the fact that first par 5 I had earlier, I was like 234 out, and it was like slightly uphill. I pretty much rode off. I'm like, there's no chance of getting to the green. Usually I take my hybrid in that situation, but the first 2 holes I tried using my hybrid, and I was kind of pushing it out to the right a little bit, so that's the only reason I didn't use it. I'm like, alright, let me try my 5-wood, and hit like my purest 5-wood I've probably ever hit. Newman quickly rockets by Matt Kenseth once again, and he's trying to get back to Mark Martin for the lead. Looks like Jimmy Johnson's starting to get into the mix. Newman and Martin have battled quite a bit throughout the course of this run, and that is what has allowed the 17 and the 48 to get into contention. Newman goes wide. He might have gotten into the wall in 1 and 2, and now he falls back 2 spots to 4th. Johnson to P3, and Kenseth again behind his teammate in 2nd. You're eliminated from playoff contention in your league. At least you made it to within a couple weeks out. Tried to make a run for it. Here's Jimmy Johnson. Johnson and Kenseth swap at 2nd, back and forth a couple times that last lap. Still not even halfway through this race. 2:30 to go in this 400 lapper. We're going to be really, really close to lap 200 by the time we make our 3rd stop. I'm going to really try to push this run out as far as I can now that I'm the one leading. Just dropped the fastest lap of the race. 30.146 that last lap. Flipped the apron a little bit there, got loose. And here comes Newman. Almost didn't get down to the bottom quick enough. I did on the straightaway, but not in the corner by the time I went wide to try to apex it off a little better. Still had a 32 that last lap. Didn't feel like it. Now we got somebody blowing up. 43 of Bobby Labonte, who's had a stellar start to the year, unfortunately has blown an engine, and his night will come to an end early. Here's Kenseth to the top for the lead. Couldn't get exactly to the lead. And now Jimmy gonna take to the top. Not enough grip up there to be able to make the pass. I've been able to get alongside cars. I haven't been able to pass them up there, and it's kind of been the same for anybody else who gets a run and takes to the top when the bottom's all plugged up. It's so risky because you just end up losing a couple spots. You get the momentum, you think you can get it done, but you get to the center of the corner, it's like you just hit a wall of wind or something that's just forcing you to not be able to complete the pass. Even though you can carry a lot of speed down the straightaways with it still, you just lose so much of the corner. It's just not worth it. Kyle Petty's gotten really close to that turn 4 wall off the exit of the corner the last few laps. Right in front of the leaders, it's not where you'd want him to be. He's going to go wide in 1 and 2, gives the bottom open for Martin. He's going to try to get by the lap car. Couldn't clear him. Little side draft going on there. Here comes Kenseth. He's going to fall to 6. Johnson stuck behind the 45. Newman's going to get to 3rd. Goes wide. Here's Kenseth. And Matt Kenseth will lead that lap at the line. His first of the day, if I'm not mistaken. 5 bonus points. Lap car was still holding up Newman and Johnson long enough that Martin was able to get down in line behind the 17. So Martin led quite a bit that run. Now he's trying to get back to the lead, potentially underneath Kenseth this time. Not going to be able to hold it. Might have to just try to pit the same time as the 17 car now. Kenseth definitely not coming in there. Kenseth coming in, and here comes Mark Martin with him. Four tires and fuel. It was a little bit better pit road entry than even the time before when I pitted behind Newman. That was probably my best pit road entry in the race, to be completely honest. I feel like I gained quite a bit of time there. The car hasn't gotten real light when I come up off the banking. Oh, that's got to be a slow stop. That grunting noise when they make contact. Do you guys hear that? They hit each other, you just hear, ooh. Oh, wow. That was a costly pit stop error there for Mark Martin because Ryan Newman's going to get out ahead of him, too. And here comes Jimmy Johnson on track in the 48. No, never mind. That's a lap car. Johnson actually hasn't pit yet. Jimmy's still on the track. As he now leads. Well, that wasn't ideal. Jimmy's in now. He'll give up the lead the next time by. Slow stop, though, for Mark Martin. The rear tire changer running into the fuel man. That could have been dangerous. Could have dropped gasoline everywhere. That's a fire hazard. I would like to think Kenseth's going to be the one to cycle to the lead. Greg Biffle's still got a pit yet. He's out there leading. So he tries to stay out as long as he can on fuel. When your uncle went and saw the Ninja Turtles movie? Well, you have to eat pizza when you're watching the Ninja Turtles. I mean, that's just a given. Lap car kind of holding Mark Martin up a little bit. Have a loose moment. Yeah, I was trying to catch it the first time. It almost overcorrected it. I don't know how I still cleared him. Man, Biffle's still out there. It's like he's got a bigger fuel tank than everybody else. And he's coming in this time. Biffle will finally give up that lead. I believe this is going to put us in fourth. Behind Johnson, Newman, and Kenseth, and I would imagine that Matt Kenseth is going to be the leader. Got his first career win in the 2000 Coca-Cola 600. Trying to win his second 600 here tonight. As of this 06 season. We are 4.3 seconds off the lead again. This 6 team had a slow pit stop that last time where the rear tire changer kind of ran into the gas man as he was going around the car. I guess that would be on the fault of the gas man because isn't he supposed to disengage the fuel can with the actual injector and then let the tire changer come through and then plug the next can back in? It seemed like he was just a little delayed taking that out, which caused that issue. We've got another car blowing up. Actually, no, Kyle Petty. He's coming off a pit road, it looks like. I didn't see any smoke coming out from under his car, so I think he's under power still. He's a few laps down, able to go a little longer on fuel than everybody else as a result. Fastest lap that last time for Mark. I don't know if I'm going to get into the 29s because I haven't even gotten into the 30-0s at all yet in this race. I feel like I'm running really fast. I don't know if I can run much faster. I don't want to loosen the car up anymore because it's tolerable over the course of a full fuel run. Looks like Jimmy Johnson's maybe in second, and then Newman is in third. Gotta stop for the 48 because he stayed out longer than the other three. He would have been in third, I do believe. Well, I guess that makes sense because I fell back. So I was in second, lost 2 spots. I don't know how much slower that made my stop, considering I was right behind Kenseth when I came in. So you can pretty much say within about a half a second, give or take, and then give or take a couple tenths. And I came out 4.3 seconds off the lead. Definitely a big error. Good news is we have half the race left. And we are still caution-free in this Coke 600. How am I doing 400 laps? I don't know. This is a long one. This is the longest race to be able to try to run a full race. I just haven't had a break yet. That's the exhausting thing. There hasn't been a single caution. 3 pit stops, and that's it. I haven't even taken a drink of water yet. I have 2 bottles sitting right here, and I don't give myself a chance during the pit stops because I keep looking at the chat and stuff and reading at some of the comments. Wild that we haven't seen a yellow. We're about halfway through the race. You wouldn't think this thing could go all 600 miles without a yellow. You wouldn't expect it to. That's not even counting the practice laps and then the 2 qualifying laps I ran too. Didn't see an incident there. We've only had a couple guys even with engine failures in this race too. 30.139, another quickest lap of the race for Mark Martin. Ryan Newman closing on Johnson for second. Mark Martin trying to close on both of them. Blew it a little bit too close to that white line on the inside of the racetrack through 1 and 2. A lot of lap traffic up right around Kenseth. 2 cars that were side by side right in front of him. Newman and Johnson get to racing. We'll catch these 2 a little bit quicker. Brian Newman on the back of the 48. Hasn't gotten side by side with him yet. And now Mark Martin closes to the back of the 12 car on the front stretch as well. Wow, picked up big time. 30.012 that last lap for Mark. That was like over a tenth quicker than our fastest lap of the race before that. Big dive. Martin on the inside of Newman. Martin to third. Robbie Gordon, Paul Menard are the two lap cars. Johnson, Martin working through right now. Big run for Martin to the inside of the 48 in turns 3 and 4. Martin is clear to second, and he's a second and a half behind Kenseth. I gotta break away from these jabronis. Start to get back up there again. Sucks losing that time in the pits, but just gotta hope we have quicker stops from here on out, so we don't have to come from 4 seconds off the lead again. And we've only gotten like not even 3 of those seconds back yet, and it's already been about 19 laps, 20 laps since we pitted. I think we pitted at lap 186. Newman getting back by Johnson for third as well. Going to be a minute before Kenseth catches those other 2 lap cars. No lap cars between the top 2 currently. Really, no lap cars between first through fourth. Once Johnson was finally able to get by Menard, I think he held him up enough that Newman was able to get by the 48 just as quickly as Martin was able to get by him. I mean, Newman. Thigh injury. Where'd you get that from? Newman's so fast. I'm like barely closing in on Kenseth, but Newman's just staying right on my rear bumper the whole way. Can't get away from him. We've gotten away from Johnson. They've made some good adjustments to that 12 car because he was not this fast those first 2 runs. But that last run, he showed quite a bit of pace. And he's obviously showing that pace again in this 4th run. On our 4th different set of tires now. There's a lot of lap traffic in front of Kenseth coming up. I didn't think it was going to be that dense when he finally got the lap cars, but it looks a lot more dense now than what I thought it would have been. Kenseth got held up big time by that lap car up there. He got a little too tight. It's like he got so close behind my bumper getting into one that he just shoved straight up the track. At least we're still early enough in the run. I don't have to worry about getting air loose when it gets that close to my back bumper. Definitely feel it the last 15 to 20 laps of the run. Kenseth got by that first lap car in this group. He's got a lot more to go from what that came from. And really those next three bunched together in front of him, and that's how Martin got past Newman during the last run, was because a lot of lap traffic really held Newman up. And I wonder if the same thing could happen here to take the lead away from Matt Kenseth this go around. Like Brian Vickers just went a lap down. There can't be too many cars on the lead lap considering we haven't had a caution yet. And Vickers qualified on the pole, so we know he's got a quick car. He was in the top 10 for a large portion of the beginning of the race too. Half a second behind Kenseth now. I'm not closing in on him as quick as I would have hoped during this heavy lap traffic. Problem is now Martin and Newman are going to have to get by these guys. Jamie McMurray, last car on the lead lap for right now. Martin pulled out of line off turn 2 to try to get underneath the 25, and he couldn't do it. Now he'll get underneath them in 3 and 4. I have to imagine McMurray was going to make it easy for his teammate to get by him. And that was exactly the case there. Murray trying to stay in that free pass position as well. Man, squeezing right in line with that 42 car. Casey Mears halfway through the fuel run. Still haven't quite caught Kenseth yet, although we're getting close. Dave Blaney nearly up into the wall again. He's a handful of laps down to this one. Gets by McMurray, clears him off turn 2. Blaney going to stay wide, mark to the inside of the 22, goes past the Bill Davis Racing Dodge. And he's got a pretty big run on Kenseth this time by. Not quite close enough to pounce yet. All right, well. He's caught him, now he's got to pass him. Honestly, I had to use up quite a bit of my tires just to get to this point. Right with him. Caution for the first time today. Right as Martin was looking low off turn 2. And it's Ryan Newman, one of the contenders in the race, that has just crashed. Looks like he got loose in turn 2 and a pretty gnarly hit into the wall. Oh my goodness, the car flipped over. Up on its side, back across traffic. Hard hit for Ryan Newman. We're under caution again, and this may bring quite a few cars to pit road. Everybody going to top off on fuel for fresh tires, and here we go again. Our first caution of the day, and it's for the driver who was running in third, Ryan Newman. Maybe one of the fastest cars of the day, really. Definitely a contender. Trying to go for the Charlotte sweep on the season. Clean stop that time for Martin, but he's not going to win the race off pit road. Looks like Tony Stewart won the race out of the pits. Sadler second, and then Martin third. Kenseth lost a lot of spots. Martin lost just one spot. Obviously, Newman's going to be back in traffic considering he just wrecked. Kyle Busch is up to fourth. Green flag back in the air. In the Coca-Cola 600, Jamie McMurray would have gotten the free pass with that caution. Martin trying to get to the inside quickly, and he does. He'll remain in third. Gets to the inside of the lap car, Brian Vickers, as everybody gets to speed down the back straightaway. Excuse me. Quickly, Martin to the inside of Sadler. Tony Stewart had his teammate Denny Hamlin get by him pretty quickly there. And everybody's lodged right in front of the leaders. Stewart side drafting Casey Mears. Tony's got the clean airs. He's the first one to get out there. His teammate Hamlin led him through. And Mark Martin sits hot on his heels. Not the first time Tony Stewart has led a lap today, but first time in a while we've seen him in contention, really the very early laps when we had quite a few drivers shaking it up for the lead those first 20 laps or so. Stewart was one of those drivers. We really haven't seen him up here since. I wonder if Newman's still in the race because that was a pretty hard hit. He had a lot of damage. All on his own though, I mean he just got loose. He was in third. We had a pretty decent stop, and we lost one position, but we got by Sadler that first lap after the race start, got right back into second again. But Tony Stewart and Elliott Sadler really came out of nowhere, and even Kyle Busch, who restarted fourth. I mean, those guys weren't even in the top five, I don't think. I mean, Stewart could have been in fifth. And obviously with Newman crashing, I guess he would have ended up being in fourth when he came in, but he would have gained 3 spots on pit road to get to where he was at. I'd say it worked out for him. I knew we weren't going to go caution-free for 600 miles, but I'm shocked that it took over half the race, 220 laps to get that first yellow. And this is pre-stage racing era, obviously. Tony Stewart has not won a race yet this season, and he was the defending champion in real life from the 2005 campaign. Although, didn't Tony Stewart miss the chase in 06 after he won the championship the year before? So I guess, I mean, that would make sense, although there's no chase in this season because it's a custom schedule in this game, therefore it's a season-long points format, but still. We are going to take our first field pass of the race when we get to the start-finish line this next time by. And it might be quite chaotic in the middle of the pack. We're going to have to hope for the best. We will swap back to Matt Kenseth and see how far he fell. It looks like he's sitting in fourth between Sadler and Johnson. So he lost a few spots on pit road. Johnson trying to get underneath the 17. Kenseth moved down in the center of the corner quite a bit. He went a half a lane wider trying to get some clean air on his nose with Sadler in front of him. Elliott not going to make this easy for the 17 car. And they still have to catch the 2 lap cars of Mears and Hamlin just up ahead yet. Sadler got a little loose off turn 4. Kenseth dives to the inside. He's going for 3rd. Already 3 seconds behind Stewart and Martin at the front of the field. Kenseth clear. Gordon got by Johnson through 3 and 4 that last time, and now he's underneath Sadler for 4th. Cautions are not done yet. I don't think so either. We still got a lot of racing left. A lot of racing. Next race on this season is the UAW Ford 500 at Talladega. I'm not sure exactly what day I'll be able to do that this week. I may be able to do it tomorrow, but I'll have to wait and see. Whatever the case is, though, we will end up getting to it, and it'll end up being a lot of fun. Talladega. Came close to winning the first Dega race earlier in the season. It'll be the second of 3. Kenseth trying to get underneath Hamlin, but Hamlin blocking the 17, even though the 11 is a lap down. He is in the free pass position, so if we were to see another caution, he'd get back on the lead lap. And we will go to Greg Biffle now in the 16 car, who is in 10th place. So Biffle's still camping out in the top 10. He's led some laps during green flag pit stop cycling on multiple occasions, but back in traffic a little bit. Kyle Busch has lost quite a few spots from the restart. He was up there at 4th. Now he's back to 9th, right behind Dale Jr. I do see Newman in 7th, so Newman's still in the race after that crash. Actually, it might not be Newman. It might be Michael Waltrip. And I don't even know if he's on the lead lap if it is Waltrip. Yeah, it's Waltrip. Never mind. And Newman may be done. I don't see him anywhere. I thought I did, and I was wrong. Biffle on the back straightaway underneath Kyle Busch in the 5. A little contact. Looking underneath Dale Jr. Johnson went wide with Waltrip getting by him as well, and Biffle's to 7th as he passes 2 cars through turns 3 and 4, the 8 and the 48. What a run for Michael Waltrip in the Coke 600. He is on the lead lap, just got passed for 6th. We'll see if we can get Biffle to the top 5 here before we swap back to Jamie McMurray, this time by at the start-finish line. Not going to get by the 38 car. We'll get underneath him, though. And Jamie Mack, who is in 15th, blocking for his life right now. Just squeezing off the 19 of Jeremy Mayfield that time, too. Yeah, it was a big timing caution for McMurray to get back on the lead lap. Just doesn't seem to quite be as quick as those other 3 Roush cars that are all in the top 5, assuming Biffle got by Sadler once he got underneath him. We'll go back to Mark Martin at the start-finish line, this time by, it'll be lap 244 in the Coca-Cola 600. Martin in second, 2 seconds off the lead as Tony Stewart is pulled away. Martin remains in P2. Gonna go off strategy here. Got a short pit. Try to get some time back, considering I was just losing time. We'll go 4 tires and fuel. And we just pitted about 20-something odd laps ago, but I think we've been able to stretch it out a little further than everybody else when we actually tried to push it. So there's a chance we can get there on 2 stops. I mean, the cautions may not be done either. I mean, this is really just a cyclist back to the lead once everybody else pits. #25th as of right now. Crazy how one caution just changed the whole complexity of this race too. I mean, Tony Stewart really came out of nowhere. Now he's got track position for really the first time for the most part, and he's making the most of it. I mean, he is pulling away from everybody, forcing Martin to go off strategy a little bit here. Got over a 1-race lead in the championship standings. I know you don't want to burn it up in the first half of the season still, but forced me to kind of go off sequence here to try to get a Crown Jewel win. Already had 1 Crown Jewel win on the season with winning the Daytona 500 to kickstart the year for Martin. Somebody about got up into the wall there in 1 and 2. Well, they are going to have cars to pass for position. It'd be nice to get back into the free pass spot as soon as possible. I'm not sure what position that would be. I know McMurray was on the lead lap at 15th. So I'm not sure if 16th place would be where we're going to have to get to or not. We've got the tire advantage. Plus, we would have had a faster car than those guys anyway, so I don't see why we can't get up there fairly quickly. Probably still take us 15 to 20 laps to get by all those guys, but big run on Jeff Burton right now in the front stretch for Martin. Looking to the inside into turn 1 on his former teammate. He'll pass him for 24th. Mark Martin looking to the bottom, gonna go 3 wide. That's Charlotte. One of those cars was on the lead lap, and it wasn't Vickers. It would have had to have been Tony Raines, considering Vickers got lapped in that first run. First green flag run, that is. That was a deep dive into the corner, a little too deep there for Martin as he got loose. And he couldn't get by Truex. Trying to push the issue maybe a little too early here. Got lucky he didn't wipe out. Almost pulled the Newman. Truex just not leaving that door open. Having to force myself to make my own room. Got off turn 2 really well. Got to easily get to the inside of the 1 and pass Truex into turns 3 and 4. That was for 22nd. Now underneath Bobby, or rather JJ Yaley, the 18 car. I mean, we could be in the free pass position now. I really don't know. There's McMurray just up ahead of us. I don't know how many cars are on the lead lap. It's tough to gauge. That's why we got to pass every car as quick as possible. Really try to take advantage of these fresh tires too. Kind of bad part is that we came out in a bunch of traffic. Not maximizing our efforts, but definitely tell how quickly we're able to pass people back here that they are definitely faster. Wow, Casey Kane. Not giving Mark Martin a lot of room there either. Passed him. I mean, we're in the second half of the race now. These guys aren't given much room. They were given a lot more room in the first half of that race, but since the caution, nobody's given an inch. Doesn't matter whether you're a lap down or not. I know Hamlin's a lap down because he was at the front of that line on the restart. Casey Mears is also a lap down. So we're going to get by Hamlin for 21st. Mears is a couple cars up ahead yet. Slide job on McMurray. You just clip that white line a little too much. You can kind of run on it sometimes and it's okay, but then there's other times you clip it just right and it just sucks your car down to the bottom of the racetrack. As you saw that last time through 1 and 2. A lot of cars jam-packed up here. In front of this line has to be some of the cars in the back half of the top 10. Because there are so many of them. You know, Casey Mears is a lap down. So again, Mark Martin really wants to get by this 42 car as quick as possible. Got to run on him. Going low. And he will be underneath Mears into turns 1 and 2. Making the pass for 20th. I see Ryan Newman up there. Still in the race. Surprisingly, he definitely lost a lot of spots with that crash, and he might not be as quick anymore. I have to imagine he wrecked some speed out of the car. Going up on his side like he did. Sadler's lost a lot of time since the restart. He was in second initially. Tell him exactly where he's at now. He's probably outside the top 15. Yeah, Tony Smoke is blowing everybody else into smoke. Every time I look up at that track map, he's just so much further ahead of everybody else than what he was even whenever I end up looking up at it the time previous. Oh, contact with Dale Jr. Get back up here with Jimmy Johnson already. Max Loves Motorsports, thanks for tuning in. Martin on the inside of Johnson. Yeah, we've definitely got to be in the free pass position right now, which is good if we did see a caution. The only bad thing with that is by short pitting, we're going to have to be behind all the other lead lap cars. At least we can pit again and get back on the same strategy at the very least. .400 miles in, and we've got 200 miles still to go in the Coca-Cola 600 at the Lowe's Motor Speedway. A lot of clean air for Martin now. I think we last restarted lap 224, so expect people to pit right around lap 284-ish. Say anywhere between, when the caution came out, I'd say anywhere between 280 to 285 if we tried to broaden out that window a little bit is where you're going to see everybody else hit pit road for what would be their 5th time, and it would, we've already pitted 5 times. So the 4th pit stop would have been during the caution, and again we short pitted during this run trying to get out to Stewart, who was completely checked away from the field off the restart as he had won the race off pit road. We just couldn't keep up with him. Got to 2nd pretty quickly after falling back a spot from 2nd to 3rd behind Sadler. And of course we've seen Stewart up here, and maybe Tony Stewart could win the Coca-Cola 600 here tonight. Joe Gibbs Racing. through. It's about to catch lap traffic. So that's where the problem's going to arise, is if he starts to lap cars that are on the lead lap and then we're not in the free pass position anymore. The thing is, I'd imagine he's going to end up catching cars that are already a lap down or more first, and then there's another big gap before he catches any more lap traffic. So I think at least until these first stops following that caution end up happening, I think we'll be okay at least for then. But then when we end up making our next stop, we're still going to end up being a lap down unless I try to pull some trickery with the fuel strategy. Ryan Jensen, thanks for tuning in. Jeff Bodine truck crash. You talked about the Daytona one from 2000. Yeah, I've seen that. I wouldn't have seen it live. It would have been like a year old, not even a full year old at that time. I was looking at the chat, by the way, when I sharp angled it into turn one that last time. Well, it definitely wasn't the quickest way to get through there, but that wasn't a great corner either. Yeah. 30.445. I think I was running like 32s and 33s before that. So I scrubbed a little time off. Up to 21 likes on the stream. Appreciate that, everybody. Monday night NASCAR. This classic NASCAR 07 gameplay. Got more NASCAR 07 coming up throughout the course of this week. And that, of course, the live commentary streams for the Xfinity and Cup Series races for Watkins Glen this weekend on Saturday and Sunday. So the NASCAR content continues. Sure to like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. So halfway out of field at this point in the run for Martin. I'd imagine we're less than 10 laps away easily from everybody else making their fifth stop. It's technically lap 281 for the leaders, considering we're a lap down right now. So we're at 120 laps to go in this race. And here they come right now, as expected. Greg Biffle's in. Said 280 to 285, so technically lap 281 coming to 282 when Biffle pit. And he was one of the last cars to hit pit road earlier, so now he's on the inverted strategy of pitting earlier than most of the others in the top 10. I think a large part of that is because now he's got 5 bonus points. He stayed out as long as he could to get at least a lap led, and now he's in strategy of just trying to get some of that time back, and maybe he can put himself in contention to win in the late going under the right circumstances. There's Biffle. Martin easily cycles well ahead of him as expected. If we don't cycle out ahead of Tony Stewart, that's going to be very disappointing. Because that was the whole reason I short pitted. And then he's going to have even fresher tires. He comes off the pit lane. That would not be very good for us. Outside of Paul Menard. Oh, Menard into the wall. Pretty hard getting into turn 3. Martin just cleared him getting into the corner. It was going to be close. Luckily, he did clear him before he went up the track. Pretty hard hit there for the 15. We stay green. Stewart's still out on the racetrack. A few other cars that are just behind him in the running order also still out there. Those that were on the lead lap before the stops that haven't pit. And Tony Stewart's actually in right now. Matt Kenseth stays out on the track at least one more lap. He has led earlier in the day. I think he would have been in second when Martin pitted, so he was third before the 6 hit pit road. And Biffle, I believe, was in fifth. He was one of the first cars onto the pit lane. It looks like Matt Kenseth will be coming into the pits this time by, there he goes, and he's got a car coming in right behind him with Jeff Gordon as well. Mark Martin now back on the lead lap. So if we were to get a caution, he'll be A-OK. There's Reed Sorensen, almost like Casey Mears. Still don't know where Tony Stewart's at. And I almost wonder if that car coming out of the pit lane just up ahead could be Tony Stewart. We were 2 seconds off the lead. We short pitted. We were in second. I'd imagine we're going to get at least back to second again. Easily back into the top 5, and yep, up to second. Tony Stewart still leads the Coca-Cola 600. That is insane. Mark Martin short pitted from second, 2 seconds off the lead, comes out of the pits. I think a lot of that was probably the traffic we were in, that we couldn't take full advantage of those 4 fresh tires, even though we looked to be really quick. And that's also just a testament to how fast that 20 car is, that he is still out in front. And we only got a half a second on him out of that. We're 1.5 seconds off the lead still. That is wild. It's 2/10 quicker than Stewart that last lap, though. So now we've got clean air. Try to run this 20 car down, but he's also got clean air, too. Aiden Fritz, thanks for tuning in. I can't believe Stewart's still leading. Hey, I'm definitely disappointed I short pitted and got off strategy, because we're right back to where we were anyway. It didn't hurt us, but it didn't help us either. It helped us by a half a second. That's all the time we gained on him. Martin's still digging, though, on relatively older tires. Too much of the apron there in 1 and 2. would like to think when we end up having to pit before everybody else this time around that I can gain more time on him again. More than just a half a second, that hopefully we don't come out with a lot of traffic when we initiate off of pit lane. Just over 100 laps to go in the Coca-Cola 600. Still trudging along, just one caution. It was back on lap 220. Ryan Newman, who was initially in third, just spun out in the middle of turns 1 and 2 and cracked the wall extremely hard on his way up the racetrack. The rear of his car just kind of slipped out from underneath him. Tony Stewart dealing with a lap car, the 145. Mark Martin getting a big run at him. And he's definitely starting to close in for that race lead. Well, here we are. Right behind Tony Stewart. Older tires going to make this pass even more difficult. Especially considering that not too far out from the next pit stop for Mark Martin. Got underneath Stewart there for a brief moment off turn 4, but couldn't make the pass. This 20 car is so quick. Now the tire advantage for Stewart. I mean, I was hoping I would get out in front of him and he would be trying to play catch up with me and not the other way around with me on older tires. And this battle is almost impossible for me to be able to make this pass. Thought I was going to be able to pick him behind that lap car. He just got down to the inside just in time. Coming up on lap 300 in this race this time by. Team Penske fan, thank you for tuning in to tonight's stream. 100 laps to go at the start-finish line this time by, and Tony Stewart leads the Coca-Cola 600. Mark Martin in second. Martin trying to go for 4 wins in a row in tonight's race. Won 3 in a row before our hiatus, and now we'll see if he can get it done here today, but Stewart looking very, very strong. Martin on slightly older tires right now. The reason why he's not really able to get a big run on Stewart. Had one there. Tony with a half block down the straightaway. And he's already kind of there anyway with the lap car on the outside. Getting towards the end of this fuel run all of a sudden here for Mark Martin. Martin's looking to be still 2 pit stops out from the finish of this thing too. And there's a chance everybody else is still 2 pit stops out also. There's no guarantee that they can all make it. Oh man, I got really loose that time. Thought I had him. Oh, got even looser there. Caught that white line up the left sides again. Wobbling our way out of it. I'm pushing so hard, just trying to keep with him. A little loose off turn 4 again. Well, this is definitely still a 2-stop race. From here to the finish. Our front tires start to give way just a little bit. Our race leader, or not a race leader, but our second place driver, Mark Martin. I mean, ideally, if we can get a caution in the next couple of laps, that would be perfect. Couple of lap cars just in front of Tony Stewart. Big moment there for Martin going up the hill a little bit. Stewart underneath Riggs off turn 4. 119 car also there. Martin falls to 20 to the inside into turn 1. They've cleared both of them, and Stewart's got a lot of clean air in front of him again. That wasn't it either. I don't think we're going to be able to get around him here before we have to pit. We're going to come in this time. Got to get all the speed we can. All right, we're in. Now, I thought about going fuel only. I think I'll go fuel only on the next stop, but I'll take 4 tires here so that way. Because the next stop I make, we're not going to have too many more laps left, maybe 20 to 30 to go, and I think I'll try to jump them that one. Because if I try to jump them here, I mean, I'm going to be suffering on tires. Having to go another 60, 65 laps again. All right, well, pit stop number 6 for Mark Martin in the number 6. And we have about 90 laps to go. Tony Stewart leads. Martin in 20th. You would think is going to be the free pass car, but then again, we don't know that for sure because we don't know how many cars Tony Stewart has lapped during this run. Because this would have been free pass following the restart, as we had 19 cars on the lead lap. There's a big gap in front of Tony right now. He's passed quite a few lap cars, and Mark Martin had followed him through. Well, time to pounce on the 4 fresh tires. We get by this 145 car. We've got a lot of clean air in front of him. I don't like how he's running us down the backstretch. Alright, that's okay. We got by him cleanly. A lot less traffic than what I had to deal with when I pitted the last time, so that's nice. Stewart pitted roughly 30 laps before us. I mean, they're going to have to pit again. If they pit with more than 60 to go, it's going to be close. I don't know what lap exactly Stewart came in. I know they started to pit at lap 281. So you would think, I mean, that would be 60 and 60 to the end. And Stewart went a lap or 2 longer than that. So he pitted probably between lap 282, 283. So as long as he goes 58, 59 laps per run, he should be able to make it. Most of the field should be able to make it. I mean, that caution came out right at the edge of that pit window, and I personally didn't think we were going to be able to make it, but now seeing where they stretched it out, how far they ran it, it's looking more likely that that is probably going to end up being the case. Yeah, we're going to need a caution, I think. So I think they're going to make it on one more stop. We're obviously still one more out from the finish. We can get anywhere between 20 to 30 to go at the very furthest, but we have zero chance of making it to the end. This 103 car's got to move. Dude, oh my god. I pushed it a little too hard. That was pretty much me as far as where the contact came from. It would have been nicer if it gave me more room in the corner. I mean, I'm a lap down technically right now, and that wasn't even for position. He's even more laps down than I am. Push it a little wide getting off turn 2. But yeah, I definitely scrubbed off a little time there. Does anybody have anything for Tony Stewart at the front of the field? Maybe he'll speed on pit road. It's not going to matter. I mean, even if I have to pit an extra time, we're going to be lucky to finish on the lead lap. If we go fuel only, I might cycle out back in front of him, but ain't looking good for us, I'll tell you that much. It ain't looking good. So Matt Kenseth's got quite a few lap cars around him. He's trying to work around and pass it. 79 laps to go at the line here in the Coca-Cola 600. And Tony Stewart leads the way. I'm hoping they pit shy of lap 340, because if they do that, then this race is most certainly not over. Even if they pit right at lap 340, I don't... Oh, we got trouble! That almost was the caution that Mark Martin needed as he went right through the smoke, split the two cars of Robbie Gordon and then the 123 that got together there off turn 4, but we do stay green, and that would have been the Hail Mary prayer that Mark Martin would have asked for. Good news is he didn't get caught up in it, and he stayed in the throttle and he got through it. That was about as close as we've seen to having a caution in, well, since we restarted about 100 laps ago. Obviously the second longest green flag run of the day, considering the fact that The longest one would have been 220. Had no chance of beating that. That was before the first caution, and we've only had one yellow so far. Now Martin gained another spot. He's up to 19th now, so somebody must have blew a motor. And we still don't know if he's in the free pass position or not. Would have had to have been a lead lap car, obviously, that blew an engine considering he passed him, because I didn't see anybody down to the bottom of the track we passed, so it would have been somebody that would have made it back to pit road already. Oh boy, overdrove it there. Pushing so hard. Man, that hurt me. 34.11 that last lap. Now we're up to 18th. Somebody else blew an engine. Now why can't we just get a caution? There's fluid on the track, throw the yellow. It's working around another lap car. M19 car, gonna stay wide. Mark Martin gonna get around him pretty cleanly. .69 laps left. I think I'm definitely pushing it a little too hard because I made so many driving line errors on my own here. Trying to make time back up again. We're up to 17th now. I didn't even notice that. So we're starting to see quite a few guys blow engines now that we're in the final 100 laps. Get some spots back. Haven't noticed anybody like actually on pit road for stops, so that's good. Tony Stewart's still running, that we do know of, and all of our Roush teammates still on the racetrack to this point as well. We still have one more field pass yet to get to in tonight's race. cars just up ahead of Matt Kenseth. Kenseth got by all of them about as quick as he really could have. I don't think he could have gotten through those guys any quicker. And Martin's got to go 3 wide as Dave Blaney and Paul Menard nearly make contact just above him. And Martin gets by all 3 cars in the middle of 1 and 2. Kenseth in second. I mean, the fact that Martin could get by him, that would be pretty impressive. Scott Riggs staying wide for the Roush cars of Kenseth and Martin. Go by down on the bottom of the racetrack. 30.177. That was one of the quicker laps Martin's ran in some time. Martin to the inside of Kenseth off turn 4. Couldn't get around him there. Yikes. Definitely used him up a little bit there. Martin staying right with Kenseth. We're at lap 340. Just now seeing somebody hit pit road that last time by. See if Kenseth pits this time. He does not. Tony Stewart's staying out at least one more lap as well. So a lot of drivers right at that edge of the pit window have been pitting. Greg Biffle's in right now. Stewart pitted a lap or 2 after Biffle the last time. Kenseth pitted actually a little bit after Stewart, so he's even better on fuel than what Tony is. And really, I mean, it seems like Kenseth's kind of closing in on Stewart over the course of this run. Tony stays out at least one more lap, so does Kenseth. Martin just ran a 30.109. Last lap. That was one of his quickest of the race. And that just goes to show Kenseth's putting up some good speed right now towards the end of his tire stint. And Kenseth won't pit that time either. Ian Martin quickly get by the 40 of David Stremme. 30.074 that last lap for the 6 of Martin. When will these leaders all hit pit road? Tony Stewart staying out again. So does Matt Kenseth. You almost start to wonder now, is Kenseth just going to pit the same lap as Tony Stewart? I mean, if he pits one lap before him, you'd imagine he could close that gap even closer, but he is definitely starting to run the 20 car down. He's running a quick enough pace, and Mark Martin really just can't get to him. Stewart may be pitting this time. Kenseth definitely isn't. And here comes Stewart. This will give the race lead back to the 17 car once again. Is Matt Kenseth going to have anything for Tony Stewart? He's going to have to pit ASAP, really. I mean, the longer he stays out, the less of a chance he's going to have of trying to get back to him. And he's now pulling to the inside there, so I don't think Kenseth's going to pit this time either. A little tight behind his teammate in line that last time through. Martin scored in 6th. There's Stewart. Kenseth's going to lap him. If we got a caution right now, that'd be beautiful. That would get us right back in it. We get the free pass. There'd only be like 5 cars on the lead lap. And Kenseth is coming in this time. So as Matt Kenseth is on his way into the pits, Mark Martin will stay out on the racetrack. He's currently 3rd. Should get by the 17. Mark Martin to the lead. Definitely a lot better that time. He had a lot more clean air on his fresher tires that go around. Not sure how big the race lead is exactly, but it is a lead nonetheless. And now everybody else is on fresher tires, and Mark is going to be considering a pit stop here very shortly. He's 3.2 seconds ahead of Tony Stewart. And it's going to be a fuel-only stop to keep him on the lead lap. And then if a caution comes out, he'll end up coming onto pit road for 4 tires and gas the next time around. But this time, again, fuel-only. Martin trying to get all he can coming into the pits. Nobody behind him directly, so he was able to use that banking to his advantage. So no tires, and it'll be 3/4 of a tank of gas. I'll just top it off. Splash and go. And problem trying to get the nozzle in. That's a second mistake by the fuel man, the gas man here in today's race. To get that second can in, gotta stay on the lead lap here. Get a 3.2 second lead. But Martin has to stay on the lead lap. Tony Stewart's out in front. Martin trying to get up to speed on the bottom of the racetrack. He's in 17th. He's still on the lead lap right now. Stewart is not that next car. That is 31 of Jeff Burton. Tony Stewart is after this, and here comes Stewart. Martin trying to get up to speed, and it's going to be close. He's going to cut Stewart off getting into turn 3, so Mark Martin remains on the lead lap with 50 to go in the Coca-Cola 600. Problem is he's on older tires, so I don't know if he's going to be able to hold on. Now can he get a caution? He's going to stay in front of Stewart as long as he can. He needs to stay on the lead lap. There's Burton. There's a 31. Stewart to the inside. Burton goes another lap down. Stewart got a little loose off turn 4. Maybe tight, considering he's right in line behind the 6. I mean, Martin has to run like this. He's got to stay on the lead lap. Hope for a caution, take fresh tires, and go from there, but... has to do this. Martin's still the only Roush car to go to victory lane this season. Maybe there's a chance Matt Kenseth can run down Tony Stewart, who had a massive lead in the midst of this green flag run. We have not had a caution in 130 laps. I know Vickers is a lap down. He is blocking Mark Martin. Martin really pulled Stewart that last lap, even riding behind the 25 of Vickers. Coming up on another lap car, though, in the 143. Vickers going low. Mark's going to have to follow him into turn 3 on the bottom of the racetrack. They both get by that lap car cleanly. For the run underneath the 25, ran out of straightaway. Now he'll get underneath them. Off of turn 4. We will take our final field pass of the race this time by, and we will drop back as the 26 of Jamie McMurray, who is in 14th place right now, first. It does look like we're going to get a new winner. We've had 6 different winners so far this season, but I think we're going to get our 7th. Unless we get a caution. It's looking like it's going to come down between the 20 and the 17, and neither one of them have won yet this season. And it's a big race to win, the Coca-Cola 600. Now, it's not like today's points where there's more points on the line for this race than any other race because of the extra stage. There's no stage racing, obviously, here, so same amount of points are still awarded, but it's still a crown jewel event, a big race to win. It's the longest race of the year. We've only had 1 caution in this event, and we have been racing for just over 3 hours now, and still have about 40 laps to go. It's honestly been a quicker pace because we've only had 1 caution, so I guess there's that. It still looks like it's a relatively close battle with Stewart and Kenseth, despite the fact we had the 1 yellow, and it was just after halfway. I mean, this race basically split into almost 2 perfect halves. About as close to it as you can really get. Wasn't meant to be for Mark Martin to try to get 4 consecutive wins, and let's see if we can maybe have a chance to get there again later in the season. Unless we get a caution while he's on the tail end of the lead lap. A lot of lap traffic in front of Tony Stewart still, so I am definitely not writing Matt Kenseth off, and we still will switch to Kenseth at some point here in this race. Murray to the inside of that lap car. We'll actually go to Kenseth right now. So there's a lot of lap traffic just in front of Tony Stewart. Kenseth is a second behind Stewart, so he's definitely closed that gap down. I don't know what it was prior to the green flag pit stops, or even really like 15, 20 laps before the green flag pit stops. Kenseth is really starting to close at the tail end of that last tire stint. Kenseth about a 10th quicker than Stewart that last lap. Mark Martin still remains tail end of the lead lap. He's got more traffic up in front of him still too. There's like 4 lap cars he had in front of Stewart. 2 lap cars between the top 2 as of right now, as we have 35 laps to go. Another 10th quicker for Kenseth that last lap than Smoke. Oh, we got a lot of smoke, and somebody went through the grass, it looked like. That last time by, that could have been the caution Mark Martin needed, but we didn't get it. No yellow there. We continue to stay green with about 34 laps to go. I don't know who it was or what happened, but looked like something drastic. I mean, we had smoke and we had somebody's tire tracks down in the grass. It still wasn't enough to warrant a yellow. Kenseth closing. We'll swap back to Greg Biffle now, who is in 5th, having a good day. And this might be 34th place right in front of him, as he's about 10 seconds off the lead, 10 and a half roughly. Big dive getting into turn 1 there for Biffle, underneath Earnhardt for 4th. Biff moving up another spot. And now underneath Jeff Gordon. Biff has got it up to 3rd. We got Roush cars 2nd and 3rd place now, and then 14th and 17th are McMurray and Martin. Biffle's car a little on the loose side too. At least it feels that way. .30 laps to go in the Coke 600. Tony Stewart still out in front. He has led every lap since the restart, except for maybe a couple laps during green flag pit stops, and that was about it. He might go on to lead the most laps in this race with how many he's led in the second half of this one, considering he did lead a few early in the day as well. And we will go back with Mark Martin for the rest of this race, who is still on the lead lap, but he's made a couple passes for position as he moves to 15th now. I mean, Biffle was in third, 10 seconds off the lead. Maybe there's an outside chance we could still get a top 10. I don't know. I mean, not sure, you know, where all the other cars are for position ahead of us, but we're getting some spots back. I mean, the more passes we can make now, the less passes we would have to make on a restart late in this race as well. Problem is that there's going to be lap cars on the inside of the lead lap cars, so we're going to have even more cars to have to pass. Considering we're 15th, we'd technically be on the outside of row 15, based off of where we're running right now, so if we can get a few more spots, that'd be great. Though, if we get a restart with 10 or less laps to go in the race, then all the lap cars would be behind the, or lead lap, yeah, I said that right the first time. All the lap cars would be behind the lead lap cars. Wouldn't have to worry about them anymore from then. Alright, come on. I just hope we get a caution sooner rather than later. I mean, the more laps we have a restart for, the better, but the problem is we're not getting that caution. We've only had one in this whole race. I didn't expect to have this few. A lot of other people probably didn't either. I feel like Tony Stewart's catching back up to us again, too. Well, we're on older tires than him, so it's no surprise. 25 laps to go for Tony Stewart. I don't know where Jimmy Johnson's at exactly. He's not in the top 5 anymore. He came in second in points. That's why I'm curious as to how many points he may get on us. He could have been one of the drivers that blew an engine. I mean, that's possible. We had a few of them that were on the lead lap when we were lapped down in this thing. This guy, my gosh. That's the second time I made contact with him trying to overdrive it to get underneath him. He didn't pitch me off quite as much as he did the last time. But even still. So you gotta expect too if we get a caution. Not to mention if there's an issue on the restart, which causes even more yellows. And I mean, there's going to be 3 or 4 laps taken away under the caution flag, too. I mean, the good news is I could pit for 4 fresh tires, because Tony Stewart is behind us. I don't think there's anybody else on the lead lap behind us in the running order. I think anybody else behind us is at least a lap down. So I can get away with pitting, not losing any spots. And maybe there's a chance that other cars pit in front of us that we could potentially beat off of pit road. So maybe we could restart in like the back half of the top 10 on fresh tires with like a 10-15 lap dash, and maybe we have a chance. I mean, the good news is we'll be far enough back. I mean, heck, maybe they start to pit and I stay out and try to win it that way. I mean, I think whatever happens, I'm going to have to do opposite. If they stay out, I pit. If they pit, I stay out. And just try to get track position, hope for the best. Cause a yellow. I'm not going to cause a caution. I'll feel dirty if I do that. Play this out naturally. I see Kyle Busch up ahead. He's definitely a spot. So he restarted in 4th. And He's had enough pace that I don't think he would have fallen 2 laps down during the course of this run, so that would definitely be 14th place. 19 laps to go. Hoping Kenseth catches Stewart. Got to within 7/10 of a second. I just don't know who's getting through the lap traffic better, whether it's Stewart or Kenseth. Really don't know. Imagine the 137 car's not on the lead lap. 2 more cars up ahead of Kyle Busch. Maybe they're a spot or 2 also. Who knows? Gotta get up there and find out first. Big run for Martin into 3. Tony Raines is definitely on the lead lap. I remember him being on the lead lap earlier. Martin went to the outside lane trying to get around this lap car. Side drafts him a little bit. Not the easy way to make the pass. Martin's so close to clearing him, but he's not going to be able to clear. No, he crowded him. Well, he forced himself clear. He almost turned himself. Oh my gosh. Come on, I see 13th right here. I think that's Jeff Green up ahead. He was on the lead lap, from what I remembered also. We got 12th, 13th right in front of us yet. We get the best finish we can. Tony Raines got loose off turn 4. Big run on the 96. Gonna be underneath him into turn 1. Just enough side draft down the front stretch. We were able to stay with him. And that's another spot with 15 laps to go in the 600. Well, green, white checker definitely wouldn't be enough laps for us to be able to get up there. So, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I don't know how many more guys in front of us can make it on fuel to the end. I know Stewart and Kenseth are definitely going to be good because they went the longest, but there could be some other drivers in the top 10 that may not make it, and we could end up getting a top 10 finish out of it as a result. McMurray in 12th, that's definitely a spot. And all we need is 2 more guys to do that, or blow an engine. It's a 600-mile race. I've seen quite a few engine failures today. I mean, that helped us a little bit because, honestly, we had 3 guys blow up in front of us during this run alone, so we could be 16th, but had 3 extra spots out of it. And they could have been guys I could have already caught, though, too. So I don't know who they were exactly. I just noticed I gained a few spots before I made that last pit stop. We really pulled Tony through the lap traffic at least. There's 2 more cars way up there. It's tough to tell if they're on the lead lap or if they're already a lap down, but there are a couple other cars. We still got... Oh, Biffle having issues. I think he might have blown an engine. The Red X is up on our teammate. He was running in 3rd. It's going to be another spot for Mark Martin, but you hate to see a teammate go down. And you wonder what the other Roush cars are going to be able to do engine-wise to the end of this race as well. That was the spot. Up to 12th now for Martin as Biffle went to pit road that last time by. And Greg Biffle is now out of the race. So now this battle with McMurray will be for 11th. Jamie Mack not going to give Martin enough room there. Martin had to lift a little bit more than what he wanted to getting into the corner. Got to run into turn 1. And Mark Martin to 11th place. I mean, we're rallying. 10 laps to go. One more guy to blow motor. Now, the problem is Greg Biffle is going to be the closest to not making it on fuel. So it kind of stinks of the drivers that did blow an engine that, You know, if we were to have anybody run out, he would have been in. Maybe. I mean, there were a few other guys that pitted with him, but I don't know how many of them were on the lead lap or still are on the lead lap. Come on. Is there one more spot to be had? There's a few cars we're catching up here. I just don't know if they're on the lead lap or not. I feel like as quick as we're catching them, they can't be on the lead lap. We won't know until we get there. On the top 10. David Stremmy's the next car. He definitely isn't on the lead lap. Murray's still staying with me. He's not done battling yet. He feels that maybe he's quick enough to catch some of these guys. I mean, when we drove as him, he was in 15th or 14th place, so he passed a couple cars before we even got to him, so he definitely has decent speed. 7 laps to go. Tony Stewart still leads. Matt Kenseth second. Still tough to tell exactly how far Kenseth is behind Smoke. Murray lost a little time as he got tight off turn 4. Reed Sorensen definitely isn't on the lead lap. We'll give Mark Martin plenty of room to get by him. Appreciate that. Haven't had that too much here in these last 100 laps or so. That easy of passes even on all the slower lap cars. .126 is a lap down. He's next. Running out of laps, so just looked up. We're already down to 5 to go. Coming up on 5 laps to go this time by at the line. We can get one attempt at a green-white checker finish if a caution comes out. And it would push us past the scheduled distance, which could bring more cars into the pits. I mean, Martin's not going to have to pit again for fuel because he was the last to pit. And made sure he topped off when he made his stop with about 47, 48 laps to go. 119 car also ahead of the 126, so they're both lap cars in front of Martin here. 4 laps to go, and I don't think he's going to catch that next car up ahead, whether they'd be on the lead lap or not anyway. He's going to get through these 2 cars quickly, not allow McMurray to close back in on us. Looks like we'll have a finish just outside the top 10 today, unless we get a caution over the next couple laps. No cautions on the final lap. If there were to be an issue. Ay, 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 ay. That was not ideal. That's going to check McMurray up a little bit more. 3 to go. I had plenty of room underneath him. I don't even know how I did that. I was just going to blame it on the fact that I've been racing for like 3.5 hours and I'm getting a little tired here. Fatigue is setting in. We're almost done. Got 2 laps to go. It's going to be an 11th place finish. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go for Tony Stewart. Front of the field. The track map, it appears Kenseth, even if he's that next car behind him, isn't extremely close to be able to pounce on Stewart. Stewart not going to have to worry about any more lap cars this run either. And the checkered flag should be waving for Stewart this time by off of turn 4. And he will dominate the second half of the Coca-Cola 600. Tony Stewart wins the 600. And I would not be shocked if he ended up leading the most laps. Just 1 spot away from the top 10 for us. We led laps throughout the day. I don't think we had the quickest car, but I definitely had a car that was capable of finishing top 5. That's a little bit frustrating, but I'd say we had about a 3rd through 5th place car today. I mean, Newman wrecked out earlier when I thought he had the quickest car, so he probably took himself out of a shot to win, and that's what gave Tony Stewart and Matt Kenseth a shot. A 1/10 of a second victory for Stewart over Kenseth. Kenseth got to within 7/10, so he must have lost a little ground during the lap traffic. Man, one spot off of it. Jeff Green gets a top 10. How about that? 66 car finishing in 9th. Check out some of the other race results. Stewart led 177 laps today, and it was the most laps of anybody, so he does get a max points day. Started 8th. Solid run. 29 lead changes. Just that one caution at lap 220 for Ryan Newman, spinning from 3rd. 170.27 miles per hour was tonight's average race speed. Matt Kenseth finishes 2nd, led 39 laps. Dale Jr. didn't lead a lap, but did finish 3rd. Elliott Sadler ends up 4th, and Jeff Gordon rounds out the top 5. He led 1 lap in this race. Sadler led 4. Kevin Harvick didn't lead a lap. He finishes 6th. Ryan Newman led 78 laps. Again, he was quick early, but actually spun. Got back into the top 10, though, despite that spin earlier, so good for him there, but ends up finishing in 7th when he could have outshot the win. Jeremy Mayfield finishes 8th, no laps led. Jeff Green led 2 laps during green flag pit cycling, so he gets 5 bonus points and finishes 9th. And Dale Jarrett rounds out the top 10 with no laps led. We led 58 laps, finishing in 11th. Man, yeah, there's no reason why we could have been up there with Biffle, Earnhardt, and Gordon late. And Sadler ended up actually catching and passing Gordon. And then Biffle obviously blew the motor from 3rd. So, I mean, there's no reason why we couldn't have finished 3rd in today's race. So that pit strategy did not work out for us and put us back in traffic. So we didn't get another caution. Who would have thought we would have went 600 miles and only had 1 yellow? Especially considering the caution came out 220 laps in. I mean, I guess you could have expected, it's like, all right, the first half of the race went caution-free, so should have known better than to think that there was going to be more yellows. But at the same time, 180 laps left in the race, you would expect there to be another caution, and there just wasn't. The flow of the race wasn't looking that way, so yeah, it's definitely on me on this one. I don't think anybody had anything for Stewart anyway. He got that track position. He won the race off pit road, and he was gone from then. He never really led much before that, but man. Check out the point standings. I didn't see who all DNF'd either. I should have done that. Our next race will be at Talladega, 500 miles, the UAW Ford 500. That should be a fun one. And then we got Michigan, Richmond, Daytona for the Pepsi 400, and I think Phoenix are the next 5 races. I didn't see Johnson up there. I almost wonder if he blew an engine because he was top 10 all day. Yeah, he must have, because he's 271 back. He was 196 back coming in. We didn't even get a top 10, and he still lost, what, 80, 75. He lost 75 points to us, so that's going to grow our lead out. It's good to know that even on an off night for us, that Jimmy Johnson still lost points because he DNF'd more than likely. So he was one of the drivers that blew an engine. There were quite a few. I know Joe Nemechek, Bobby Labonte blew a motor, and I really don't know beyond that who might have. Oh, Greg Biffle obviously blew an engine. He falls to 7th in points. He lost a couple spots. Tony Stewart with the win moves up to 4th. Long ways to go in the season. Anything could happen. We still have 4 more super speedway races left, and I think we have at least 1 more road course race left on the season as well. Let's see, we got 2 more races at Daytona, 2 more at Talladega. Watkins Glen is the only other road course we have left. So we have not raced there yet this season. So, yeah, I mean, we got like 5 wildcard races left. I mean, even an 11th place night, we should have lost points to Jimmy because Jimmy was top 5 the whole race. He probably would have been up there around Earnhardt as well. He looked quick early, but he kind of fell off in the second half. Once he got put back in traffic with that slow pit stop, he kind of wasn't the same. But he definitely had a top 5 car. He definitely would have closed that gap down a little bit. But him blowing the engine definitely bailed us out in an off night. So hopefully we pick it back up. And we'll try again for Talladega. I'm not sure if that stream will be tomorrow. It'll be within the next couple of nights, though. I can guarantee you that. Just not sure exactly when it will take place. I'll put a community tab post out like earlier during a day, whether that be tomorrow or Wednesday or whatever, that I'll say, hey, I'm going to be streaming later tonight or whatever, and I'll give you guys a time. But, yeah, we'll have Talladega next. That should be fun. Thanks for watching, everybody. Like, subscribe for more daily NASCAR.